All right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, they say the child that says his mother will not sleep, he too will not sleep. As the APC continues to cause terrible crisis in Nigeria, the crisis within the party has also continued to worsen. The misunderstanding between the southern faction of the APC and the northern faction of the APC began slowly during the party's presidential primaries last year. Today, the crisis is now a full-blown one. It began to worsen when key members of the northern APC were left out of appointments early this year. But now, we have come to a point where there is serious disagreement in the style of governance amongst the southern and northern appointees. This is not to say that the northern APC members themselves know how to govern. No. I'm just pointing out that there is serious disagreement between Tinubu's team and Shettima's team as we speak. About a week ago, northern elder, activist and political analyst Madi Shehu told the world that Shettima's team was being marginalized by the Lagos boys. And Shettima said during the campaign that the city boy, that is Tinubu, will handle the economy while he will handle security. But presently, the Lagos boys, as Senator Ali Ndume and many others have pointed out, have taken over everything. And out of frustration and anger, Shettima cried out in a video and began to warn APC politicians that very soon a revolution will occur, that Nigerians will turn on politicians for stealing money without delivering good governance. And the entire nation was shocked to hear this from Shettima in a video, not even that he was quoted. You can imagine the level of frustration that pushed him into making such a statement. Before I show you that video, let me quickly show you this biting criticism of Tinubu and his ministers as they complete 1 year in office today. This criticism is coming from Alhaji Baba Yusuf, another APC chief from the northern APC faction. See the video.
If you have to start struggling to identify 2-star ministers, what you call champion in a cabinet of 45, and you just do a rule of thumb of 2/45, that's a failure, Charles. And if you identify the stars and you see a subnational performer addressing the issues of FCT, whereas you have critical sectors that are supposed to have an omnibus national critical impacts like defense, okay, like internal affairs, like other transport and other critical sectors that are supposed to quickly turn around the economy that has been taken over on the needs. That should be the focus of the administration. So by and large, I struggle to identify champions, but I know there are superstars who have made their mark in their own right. However, performance is measured by outcomes and impacts, not by events. That being said, I believe with the high level of expectations on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, based on his antecedents and the promise he made to Nigerians himself, asserting that we should not have sympathy for him, he could deliver. Those expectations are high, and then the outcomes that are not coming, to my mind, is my premise of this assessment going forward. So therefore, there is need to really do a lot. Maybe a cabinet reshufflement will put round pegs in round holes, or maybe an overhaul, because I think 1 year is enough in any setting, especially a war room setting like this, critical setting, for some people to be shown the way out, because clearly they don't have the capacity to operate at that level, because at the level of appointment, a lot of political considerations were made, and that is why they are sitting on their hands, and there's issue of even corruption in some cases. Mr. President is moving with lead-made shoes or iron-made shoes. He cannot run with this. He needs to review this situation.
You heard that. You know, Tinubu appointed his ministers on the 24th of August 2023. So today, 24th of August 2024, they complete 1 year in office. And now Nigerians are struggling to pick 2 performing ministers out of all 45 of them. And this APC chief here, Baba Yusuf, is saying struggling to pick 2 performing ministers out of a whooping 45 is a sign of great failure. And I know that some people will still say he's saying all these because Tinubu is not a northerner. Well, that is not my business. I only have two things to consider. Number one, are his words true? Absolutely they are. And number two, will all these interviews and criticisms further tear the APC apart? Of course they will. And that is exactly what well-meaning Nigerians want, so that they can be free from the shackles of these people. And to those making these criticisms of this administration all about tribe, yesterday the EFCC chairman Ola Olukoyede, who is from the southwest, came out and criticized the system under Tinubu. He said the system encourages fraud. It's everywhere. And senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, and many other Yoruba elders have lambasted this regime. They said the palliatives they are giving out have turned Yorubas and other Nigerians into beggars. So this is not about any region trying to victimize anyone. Numbers don't lie. We have never had it this bad in this country, and Nigerians must make sure that at this juncture, they end all associations with the APC. But that is, of course, if we want a better country, or better still, if we want to have a country at all in the coming years. Because the recent happenings in Nigeria under the APC clearly show that Nigeria is heading for total destruction, a situation where the country itself might even cease to exist. And to avert this danger, we must first come together and kick the APC out of power. Point blank, period. Now, on to the next update. It is no longer news that the appointees from Lagos State have taken over this regime. Even Yorubas from other states are saying they are being marginalized, just as Shettima has been marginalized. And what are these Lagosians doing? They are just busy emptying the treasury, not minding the situation of the country. It is not like these others care about the people too, but they are saying this level of looting by Lagos boys has never been seen. And Shettima, who has been heavily marginalized with his team, cried out in this video, warning that a revolution is near. See the video.
An incident that happened to my friend. His wife and driver were driving through Kano City, and some young men came out and broke the windscreen of the car and told them in Hausa that Shogo kuna jin dadi mumuna wahala. Bastards, you are enjoying, we are suffering. And those young men did not run away. It was my friend's wife and driver that scampered away. And very soon, we'll reach that boiling point unless we wear our thinking caps and work for the people. And the most important yardstick has to do with the quality of governance. There is more to leadership than primitive capital accumulation. No matter how much you steal, beyond a certain point, it's just a number. The lifestyle of somebody with 20 million naira is virtually the same with the lifestyle of somebody with 100 million naira.
You heard that. He said we are close to the point where the people will rise if politicians don't begin to get it right as regards the quality of governance. This is coming from Shettima himself. Only God knows what must have pushed him into making a statement like this. I told you here weeks ago that report said some people in Shettima's team were happy with the End Bad Governance protest, particularly the attention it garnered in northern Nigeria. Who can even say for sure that some of them did not sponsor it? And this goes to show that the APC is in heavy crisis at the moment, and it is a good time for Nigerians to liberate themselves. We saw all these things under Buhari regime. We are seeing them now. Our commonwealth being turned into private property by a few. But like I said, this is not to say that Shettima himself, means well for the people. That's not what we are trying to say. He was governor for 8 years in Borno, Maiduguri, and the legacies left behind are hitherto haunting the entire nation. But there are two things to consider. There are two things to take from this speech. One is that are the things he said in this video true? They are absolutely true. Every single thing he said. These people are just amassing wealth for themselves, and Nigerians have had it up to here. And any moment from now, this country might descend into great chaos. 2. Will his words further tear the APC apart as a party? Most definitely, they will. And this is what patriotic Nigerians want. There is no Nigerian in his right senses right now that does not want the APC to disintegrate, because this is the party that has brought so much pain to this country. We had our issues, like I always say, yes, but we never had them at this level. We have never been a country where more than 80% of the citizens cannot feed themselves. We have never been like this. Even when the global economic recession began under the Jonathan regime, Nigerians were still living their normal lives in terms of being able to afford 3 square meals, clothe and shelter themselves, transport themselves. We were living normally. It was under the APC that this suffering began at this level. It was under the APC that Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world. And this country has remained on a steady decline ever since. As of last year, 65% of the youths in this country were reportedly unemployed. We stepped into this year and the figure hit 70%. Mind you, that was before the mass exodus of foreign companies. So you can imagine what the figure of unemployment amongst youths is now. That is why crime rate is so high. Because when people are idle, the next thing is to take to crime. What a pathetic situation. Now, let us take the latest update on the 20 medical students that were kidnapped in Benue State on their way to a convention. First of all, let's take this video by one of the parents of the victims. I was really touched when I watched this video, and I want you all to see it. Check it out.
Retired since 2013. I'm 11 and a half years outside. Life is not easy with us. I'm pleading on behalf of the parents that the kidnappers should kindly release our children. It's not easy for us to raise the ransom of 50 million they are demanding. I'm appealing to government and the general public to come to our aid and to help us rescue our children.
You heard that. That was the father of one of the victims, one of the kidnapped medical students. And the video really touched me there. The man said he retired in 2013 and he has been living in Benue there for 11 years. And he was appealing to the government there and to the public for help. Where are they going to raise 50 million naira? And there are so many Nigerians in this kind of situation. It's just because of the profession of those students, because of their discipline in school. Medicine, it's a discipline that attracts attention. That's why people are talking about it. If not, so many students, so many Nigerians have been kidnapped and funds could not be raised to pay ransom for them, and they were eventually killed. But in this case, reports reaching us right now is that the students have been rescued. And I read, just in, 20 medical students kidnapped in Benue rescued. Security sources. Security sources say 20 medical students who were kidnapped in Benue State have just been rescued. The operation was coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor. Security agencies, the police, DSS, and military personnel and equipment were involved in the operation with the support of the Benue State government. Though the students have regained their freedom according to security sources, details of the rescue operation are still sketchy at the moment. News of the abduction of the students hit the media space last Friday, attracting reactions from Nigerians who condemned the rising rate of kidnapping in the country. The victims were said to be on their way to Enugu State, passing through the Otukpo local government area in Benue before they encountered bandits. That is how these people are running, rampage on Benue State. And the governor of Benue State is there praising the administration that they are heaven and earth. Meanwhile, your state is not safe. And we all know that most probably it was the 50 million naira ransom that the government paid. But that is not the important issue now. The most important thing is that we want to see that the students have actually been rescued, let them go back to their families, go back to their education, and have their lives, even if it was ransom that the government paid. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Distinguished says, great news. How many kidnappers were killed or arrested in the rescue operation? He's also trying to suggest that they actually paid ransom. Well, we just hope that it is true and that the students are safe. Let's see them. And this tweet here by David says, thank God for their safety, but we will need to hear from the victims. Police have lost public trust on cases like this. Then we can praise them if ransom was not paid. I believe ransom was paid, but I'm happy that the students are safe. And this tweet here by Oga Mayor says, to think the punishment for terrorism, kidnapping, banditry, looting is not death penalty makes me wonder if Nigeria is indeed an open-air prison. No tough measures in place to deter crime in our society is actually pathetic. And Tunde Adeparu CS says, rescued after paying ransom. As citizens, we should all be ashamed of what the Nigerian society has become. Anyway, this is the APC, and I don't expect anything less. I keep saying it. For Nigeria to become the society that we desire, we must come together and kick the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because now because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.